Crypto was the superstar of the weekend. There's no doubt about it. Incredible moves, not only in Bitcoin, but Ethereum and altcoins across the board. And when we go to Bitcoin here, I have to show you this. So you guys know that we talked about maybe upside to 120,000. That's kind of the most bull case that I can come up with, which would be a major trend line. But I did find this, and let's go over to the big board here.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. In this video, let's discuss these topics and more.
So one of the things I saw is if you take the bear market low here in 2020, this was, by the way, this was the COVID drop right here. I think we went down to, what was it, about 10,000 or a little bit below 10,000 at that point. And you draw a line here and you stretch it out and then you drag a parallel up. You come up here, here, and then look at where we currently are. So this is for those of us watching that are either rooting for or against, doesn't really matter to me. The point is this is a level to watch. Can Bitcoin get through this 82 to 83,000 level, right? I think currently we're right around 81 and change. Can it break through? If it breaks through here, I got to think that you're headed towards that 100 even number, right? At least the 100 even number, maybe the 120 we talked about. But ultimately, if it gets rejected here, where would you expect a pullback to come in? You'd expect a pullback back to these former highs, right? Essentially a retrace to the scene of the crime. 73, 74,000 would be your pullback. And by the way, that would actually be healthy. In a weird way, you want charts that backtest because it builds strength when it backtests. Think about, if you build a vertical tower just straight up, a wind comes and blows it over. If you build a block tower, right, and you have checkbacks along the way, it can be much, much more sturdy. And that's what checkbacks in charts are. It's actually not healthy for things to go vertical because then you get the major pullbacks that wipe so many people out. So again, 82 to 83,000 right there. That is a major level on Bitcoin to watch. We're going to see what happens today, tomorrow, and the rest of this week. Now, gold. Gold is getting annihilated today. Part of the issue with gold here, guys, is if we go to the dollar chart, let's take a look here. The dollar is also stronger again today. Now, the dollar is still into major resistance. We can still see a trend line going back to 2021 here. So there should be a lot of resistance that pushes the dollar back down. But I have talked to you guys about being short gold, and I did take half off the table on this dip last week with my second target down at this lower parallel band here. So we're looking at around 25.50 or so as your downside target. But what a drop on gold here, folks. Gold, again, was near 2,800. It's now at 26 and a quarter-ish, and ultimately probably should have another $75 of downside before it tags the low end. Once it gets down there, I think you start looking to buy the GDX, you buy other miners, and you can also buy gold overall, at least nibble. And again, just be careful because gold has had a long period of upside move. I've talked about how people have gotten complacent on gold, how even, the John Q. Publics are very, very bullish, which is usually the sign of a pullback correction coming when you have everyone out there bullish. It could always go lower than 2,550 to 2,500. But again, that's your starting point based on technical analysis.
Bitcoin surged to a record high near $82,000, sparking optimistic predictions for $100,000 soon. The rally aligns with new institutional interest, ETF inflows, and Bitcoin's continued competition with gold. Bitcoin surged to $81,845 following Trump's election win and pro-crypto promises. Analysts now predict a potential climb to $100,000 by Inauguration Day, with a long-term target of $300,000 by 2026.
You can see this is the pre-market data. So this was after hours on Friday right down here. The markets, again, 4 in the morning right here, 4 a.m. Eastern time. We opened up. We kind of ground higher. And then you have seen a little bit of a dip right here, but this is still net positive, all right? And when we look at this, we see the markets closed right here on Friday. We are trading up here around 600. So you're looking at basically a $2 gain on the SPY or 20 points on the S&P 500 with the stock market about to open at about 20 7 minutes. All right. Now, a couple things we have to go over. So we're looking at an up market, at least initially today. Again, bond market is closed, like I said. This is a key trend line. So remember this trend line down here on the charts. We talked about this last week in the game plan. You connect these lows. It connects right through that high right there, and that's essentially where we closed on Friday. Now, the question is, do we push up a little bit higher? Now, if you've been paying attention for the last month or so, I talked about a target price on the S&P between 6,000, right, and 6,100. All right, so now as of Friday, we pierced 6,000 on the S&P. We closed just below at 59.95, and pre-market we're back above 6,000. Now, keep in mind, we could go up a little bit higher, but as I said before, once we're in this range, I'm going to be looking to take a large put position on the S&P 500. And ultimately, it's a little too much too fast. And also, I think that a lot of this is ignoring that you have overall cycle patterns and you have a labor market that's slowing down. And notice again how the Fed has cut rates again as of last week. Interest rates still remain high because there's this over or underlying concern that the money printing is not going to stop, all right? Again, no matter who's in the White House, and I said this before, no matter the promises made, I have a hard time believing that any politician is going to be willing to cut spending dramatically. We'll watch and see. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love nothing more than to see our deficits come down versus just spiraling to the upside. Okay, so that's the S&P. Again, we could go a little bit higher, but we're getting to the end of the road. Tesla today, a monster move, guys. Take a look at the chart on Tesla. We are trading up another 6 to 7% pre-market. When I see this type of thing, folks, I start salivating. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when stocks get this crazy in terms of vertical moves, and we're talking about $1 trillion company now. As of this morning, before the upside in the pre-market, it's a $1.03 trillion company. Now, again, it'll be about 1.1, give or take, right, as of the open if we stay here. This type of market cap expansion will have a retrace. Even if it down the line it goes higher, and it might, you're still going to get a retrace. So what I like to do is I like to look for opportunities. One opportunity on this chart, I was looking back, and I'm like, well, listen, we're not near the all-time highs just yet. That's still around 400 or just above. But is there a Fibonacci retrace? And so what I did is I took the all-time high on Tesla to the low here from 2023 in January, which was at about $105. And what's fascinating is that we can see there's a Fibonacci 786 level right here at 347 to 350. And so for me, at least as a starter kind of zone for a day trade, this is where I'm going to look to probably start shorting Tesla during hours today.
Dogecoin has surged 23% to surpass USDC and XRP in market cap, reaching its highest price since October 2021. The rally follows excitement around possible pro-crypto support from the Trump administration and Elon Musk's involvement. Bitcoin has crossed the $82,000 mark, setting a new all-time high and capturing the attention of investors and analysts alike. Surpassing its previous peak above the $81,000 range, this milestone highlights Bitcoin's enduring appeal amid renewed interest in digital assets. Stanley Druckenmiller has warned about the pernicious effects of the budget deficit and the growth of U.S. public debt. The investors stated that the country faces a reckoning, but timing it is difficult due to several factors. El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele shared details of his phone conversation with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on social media platform X on Thursday, noting a range of topics that touch on their mutual interests and political agendas. Bukele remarked, "I congratulated him on his sweeping victory on Tuesday, and we discussed the strong mandate he received from the American people and the significance his election holds for the world. We had an interesting conversation about his podcast strategy, the bullet that nearly killed him, the incredible people around him, the sometimes harmful effects of U.S. aid funds, Soros-backed NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and our shared commitment to tackling the challenges ahead," the Salvadoran leader added. Donald Trump won the U.S. presidential election on November 5, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris. Trump's victory marks his return to the White House after previously serving as president. A landmark sentencing has closed the chapter on Bitcoin Fog, the longest-running Bitcoin mixing service on the darknet, with its operator facing over a decade in prison. A proposed BRICS digital asset platform could ignite unprecedented investment in South Asia, Africa, and Latin America, driving growth in emerging markets. Elon Musk is coordinating to import Argentine President Milei's chainsaw model to the U.S. Milei recently stated that his Minister of Deregulation and State Transformation, Federico Sturzenegger, had coordinated with Musk to replicate Argentina's model. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to BitcoinZella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.